Hey Sierra Youth, my name is Rhea and this is my friend Emily, and we are so excited to have you with us for our summer series, Sierra Youth by the Fire. It's going to be an awesome series. Tonight we're going to be worshiping together, we're going to have a message from Joey, and it's going to be an awesome time. So let's lift our voices and let's give God everything we have and sing together. Let's sing this out together. Sing just one word. With just one word, you calm the storm that surrounds me. With just one word, the darkness has to retreat. In just one touch, I feel the presence of heaven. With just one touch, my eyes were open to see. I can't help but believe there's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that He can't move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. With just one word, you heal what's broken inside me. With just one word, and you revive every dream, yes, Lord. With just one touch, I feel the power of heaven. In just one touch, my eyes are open to see. I can't help but believe there's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that He can't move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. Oh, there's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a prison wall He can't break through. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. Come on, we sing. Let's sing this out with everything we have. Sing, I will believe for greater things. Let's sing it all together. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise. Let all agree. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise. Let all agree. There's no power like His power. There's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that He can't move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. Oh, there's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a prison wall He can't break through. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. When we sing it together, we sing, you call me out upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail, where feet may fail and fear surrounds me. You never fail, and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you've never failed and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name, yes, Jesus, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Oh, you are my Lord. Oh. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Oh, we're stronger, Lord. But I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul rests in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Yes, God, we are so thankful for that truth today, that no matter what comes our way, no matter what we might be facing, God, the fears that might be surrounding us, God, we are yours. And you have given us courage, you have given us strength, you have given us faith, God, and we praise you for that tonight, for all the things that you do. God, we know you are so powerful. And we ask you to meet us here tonight, God. Would you speak to us through your word? And everybody said, amen.
What's up, CR Youth? Welcome to CR Youth by the Fire. I'm so excited to have you joining me here right now. It's such a blessing to have you guys with me. My name is Joey. I'm one of the youth pastors at the Woodbury campus. And tonight we're kicking off a brand new teaching series called Crazy Faith. And this series is by Michael Todd. He's one of my favorite pastors. And in this series, he talks all about this idea of how do we live our lives by trusting God at his word. How do we trust God with everything he says in our lives? And I think it's such an important concept for us to understand. And so I'm excited to have you guys come along on this journey over the next few weeks as we talk about this. And so tonight we're going to kick off Crazy Faith by kind of laying the groundwork of what does it mean to live our lives with crazy faith. And so to start that off, I actually want to tell you a story about a time when I actually kind of took like a crazy risk. This is not like one of those Jesus crazy risks, but this is just me being kind of weird, and I want to share it with you. So when I was in 6th grade, I had this crush on this girl, and you guys know what that's like, and I was just trying to get her attention for months and months and months, and I just couldn't. For whatever reason, I could not get her attention. And so what I did is I went home and I talked to my mom about it, like you should if you are in a situation that you need help with. And so when I talked to her, what she told me was she said, hey, you should just tell her how you feel. And girls love jewelry, so you should give her some jewelry as well. And so she gave me a necklace. And so the next day, I went to school with this plan. I was going to go up to her, I was going to give her this necklace, and it was going to be awesome. And so I was walking into school, I had all the confidence in the world, I was really ready to do this, and I walk up to this girl, I look at her, I give her the necklace, and I say, hey, I really like you. And she looks at the necklace, And then she looks at her friends, and then she looks at me, and she just starts laughing. And I was mortified. I couldn't believe it. And I walked away with so much shame and embarrassment, but I look back on it now and I recognize that it's a funny story. And I tell you that story, one, because I do think it's funny, but two, because I took a risk. And sometimes risks don't always turn out the way that they do, but when we follow God, He sometimes calls us to take risks. And what I know about God is that when He calls us to take risks, He's always going to come through. And so to kind of just transition into this message portion, I want to talk about what is crazy faith? We're talking about this idea of what is crazy faith. Well, I want to just give you the definition of faith before I give you the definition of crazy faith. So faith is defined in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1 as faith shows the reality of what we hope for, and it is the evidence of things we cannot see. So what is faith? Faith is this is my definition of crazy faith. The crazy faith is that we trust God even when we can't see the outcome and even when it doesn't make sense. So as we go throughout this series, that's kind of going to be our definition, that we're going to trust God even when we can't see the outcome and even when it doesn't make sense. And there's actually a lyric of a song that I think really fits into this whole idea of crazy faith really well. And it's a song by CeeLo Green. If you don't know who he is, he's an awesome artist. And this song is called Crazy. And in this song, the lyric goes like this. He says, "My heroes had the heart to live their lives out on a limb. And all I remember is thinking, I want to be like them." So I want to repeat that one more time. My heroes had the heart to live their lives out on a limb. And all I remember thinking is I want to be like them. And I love that line, and I think it really applies to our lives, because what he's saying is that there are people that have made the decision that they're going to make risks in their life. They're going to live their life out on a limb, and because of that, they've seen incredible things take place. And I think about the Bible, and throughout the Bible, we see incredible people who did incredible things with their lives. And why? Because they were willing to live their life out on a limb. They were willing to trust God at His word, even when it didn't make sense. And I think that's a really incredible thing. And tonight we're gonna look at one of those people that did that. And this guy's name is Noah. You may know the story of Noah's Ark, and it's a really powerful story. If you don't, I encourage you to read it. It's found in Genesis 6 through 9. And I'm just gonna kind of summarize this story just because of the length of it. And so this story is a story of a man who had incredible faith. It's a story of a man who took God at His word and trusted God. And because of it, God used him to impact lives. And really what we're going to talk about here is, so Noah is this guy who in his time period was the only man, he was the only guy that trusted God. That's what the Bible says, is that Noah was the only one that trusted God. And so he's living his life in this time period where everyone around him was not following God. And so what he does is he starts to pray. And then what God says to him is God says, hey, I'm going to basically destroy everyone else on the earth because you're the only one that's following me. I actually regret creating humanity. That's what God says to Noah. And God says, I need you to do something. And what God says, I need you to build an ark. And I just want to kind of pause in that moment. I want to pause in the moment of this story because what's happening here is really crazy. God is telling Noah, He's telling him, hey, I need you to start building an ark. And he doesn't even know that God's going to send this flood, as some of you may know the end of this story. He's just told by God, I need you to build an ark. And just imagine maybe if God told you to do that and you go to the park in your town and you start building this ark. And it's this massive structure and people are walking by, they're looking at it and they're looking at you and they're saying, man, what are you doing? Why are you building this ark in the middle of nowhere? There's no water nearby. What's going on? And all Noah could say, and all you could say to that is, God spoke it, so I'm going to do it. And that's Noah's faith on display right there. And it's incredible, incredible faith. And so just to kind of finish up the story, what happens is that God sends this flood, and Noah has this ark that's been built. And now the only people that survive are Noah's family and the people that were on this ship with Noah, the animals that were on this ship with Noah. And so then everything else dies. And so what I know about what Noah would say to you and what he would say to me is, if he was with me, is that what is seen as crazy in one season will be counted as faith in another. And what that really means is that sometimes when God calls us to do something, it seems crazy. It seems absolutely crazy in the moment. But then something takes place And then it looks like faith. Then it looks like, oh, you are actually trusting God. And as we kind of continue through this, I just wonder, like, do you want to be known for that? Do you want to be known for someone that trusts God? Do you want to be known for your crazy faith? Do you want to be known as somebody that trusts God no matter what he says? That you're going to believe him at his word? Because I don't know about you, but that's what I want to be known as. I want to be known as somebody who has crazy faith. And so I don't know what your life looks like right now. I don't know what maybe God has been speaking to you, but what I do know is that maybe God is calling you to do something that seems crazy right now. Maybe he's asking you to do something that just seems absolutely bonkers. Maybe for you, God is calling you to start giving financially, but you only have $20 to your name. That's crazy. Or maybe for you, you have family and friends that are far from God and they constantly are making fun of you for your faith. And God is saying, hey, I need you to preach the gospel to them. That's crazy. Or maybe for you, God is saying, hey, I need you to forgive the person in your life that hurt you so deeply. That's crazy. See, there's a lot of these different things that come to mind when we think about crazy faith. And I don't know what it is for you, but are you willing to live crazy faith? Are you willing to trust God even when it doesn't make sense? Even when you might look at this situation and think, man, I don't know why I would do that. And I don't know why I would ever say that or do that. And it's really hard to do. But what I do know is that if you do, what you're going to see take place is God is going to do the impossible. God will change lives. You will see miracles happen. You will see healing happen. You will see life change take place. And you will see circumstances shift. But the only way that that can take place is if we live life with crazy faith. If we live life with crazy faith. And maybe right now you're saying to yourself like, okay, this sounds like a really cool idea, but how do I actually do this? How do I actually live with crazy faith? Well, for starters, we're going to be talking about this for the next 4 weeks. So if you want to join us, we're going to be talking about how we can live with crazy faith. But the first thing I would say to you is if you want to live with crazy faith, you've got to go all in. If you want to live with crazy faith, you've got to go all in with Jesus. Not 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but all in. So much all in that you're trusting God so much that if God doesn't come through, you're going to look like a fool. That's how much we should be going all in with Jesus. But I promise you that he will come through. But if he doesn't, then you look like a fool. That's how much we should be trusting God. And really what's got to take place here is we've got to go from head knowledge of God to heart knowledge. So what I mean by that is a lot of believers think in their head that God is real. A lot of us think that God is for us. We think that we're forgiven. We think that he loves us. But in our heart, we don't truly believe it. See, what a lot of us do is we think that God will show up, but really what it is it's more of a hope than a belief. And so if you want to have crazy faith, we've got to go from here to here. We've got to believe God with everything in us. And so just to kind of help you understand that, I've got this little illustration I'd love to share with you. And so I've been sitting on this stump, as you can see, this whole time that I've been talking. And if I hadn't been sitting on the stump, if I just walked up here and I saw this stump, in my mind I would look at it and I would think, this should support me. This should be sufficient for me to sit down. I'm not going to fall if I sit on it, but I don't actually believe it until I sit. I don't actually believe that this stump will support me until I've experienced it. I don't actually believe that this stump is good enough until I've taken the time to trust and see if it actually will. And then once I have, I can tell that it does support me. And the same thing goes with our relationship with God, is a lot of us don't believe in our hearts because we haven't given God an opportunity to show up, because we're living such comfortable lives. But friends, if you want to live crazy faith, you've got to trust God at his word. You got to trust God at his word. So when he calls you to do something that seems absolutely crazy, we got to give him an opportunity to show up and to move in our lives. And so my question for you as I close tonight is, will you? Will you live life with crazy faith? Will you trust God when it doesn't make sense? Will you believe God at his word? And that's not an answer that I can give for you. That's a decision that you have to make. But I encourage you to do that, because what you're going to see is that if you do that, the impossible will take place. Because friends, it's only crazy until it happens. That thing that God is calling you to only seems crazy until God does that thing. So let me pray for you. Jesus, I thank you for all these students, for all these leaders, for all these families that are watching this right now. God, I ask that you would help us to live with crazy faith. Help us to trust you even when it doesn't make sense. Help us to step out in faith and do the things that you're calling us to do. Jesus, we give you everything. It's in your name. Amen. Well, thanks so much for joining in week 1 of Crazy Faith. I hope that you would join us over the next few weeks as we talk about this conversation, because I believe that God is going to do something incredible in your life. So I hope to see you next week for week 2 of Crazy Faith.